Right, yeah, okay, R. Henson, we get it. Okay, I made a mistake last time. We don't need to remember about it. What's even worse is I started my introduction and I hadn't started the stream, so you were quite right. Well done. Welcome, everybody. It is me, the Characteristics. I hope you are all doing well. And welcome to PRL. It's just me today, I'm afraid. Um, but hopefully, I can bring you some good enough commentary either way. Today, we're here at my home circuits, Silverstone. Been here far too many times. It's a track that I absolutely adore. It's just one of those tracks where I know it just encapsulates racing as an absolute whole. And we're racing here today. Hopefully, fingers crossed, it should be a very good race. J Horse has said that we should be expecting a very good race. So I'm taking his word for it, and I'm praying. I'm on my hands and knees, but I think I am beginning to develop illness. So I'm my eyes are a little weary. It might just be because I've been focusing a lot this evening. If you want to know, I've been building a PC. Oh yeah, Ryzen 5 7600 with a 6700 XT graphics card, 32 gigabytes of DDR5 RAM, and a terabyte of storage. I mean, it is looking mint. Not quite finished yet, but hopefully, so long as the graphics card arrives on time, which it might, we should be on PC next week. So watch out for that. Either way, let's talk a bit more about this race rather than looking ahead to next week. And in particular, let's take a quick look at our usual standings. The constructor standings. Actually, no. We always start with the drivers. So let's start with the drivers. This is the drivers' standings. And Spice Virus is doing rather well indeed, isn't he? 96 points. 2 wins out of 4, so he's won half of the races, and he's been on the podium 75% of the time. They are good stats. A first in Bahrain, a second in Portugal, and only a fifth in China. That went a little wrong, but a first in Austria as well has really cemented him up at the top of the standings. J Horse as well, currently in P2. He's on 73 points, so quite a big deficit after he had a pretty dodgy Bahrain, only picking up ninth place. But he has been on the podium ever since P3, then two P2s in the most two recent races. And Mr. Cookie rounds out the top three. He's on 62 points at the moment. He's only had one podium as of so far, and it was the very first race in Bahrain where he took home third. But the midfield is really where it's interesting. So we've got Scarenzi, J. Thompson, and Jackalacco all in the 50s. So they've got some really good results behind them. But then even deeper into the midfield, we've got Kresnos, Danny, Arhenson, Excelest, Hazard, and Blackbone all within 10 points of each other. Spray and Pray is only another 2 points down from there as well. So we've got some huge battles going on all throughout the midfield. I mean, that midfield is just going to completely change by the end of this race. I can almost guarantee it. Hello, Sweet Caster. No Spirus this week. No Spirus this week. So this is a huge opportunity for J-Horse to try and catch up to the back of Spirus. All he's got to do really is come home with a win. That's probably his primary objective, because what would that get him? That would push him up to 90, 95 points, I believe, with our point system. I believe it's 25 for a win, though I genuinely could be totally lying. For a win, all of this waiting around, that's not going to happen anymore, which will be absolutely wonderful. Yeah, so for a win, 25 points, an extra point for fastest lap as well. So he's going to need a win and fastest lap if he wants to level with Spirus Virus out today. So it's quite a big ask, or a pole. If he gets pole as well, that's an additional point. So he'll be happy with that. Quick look at the constructors then, shall we? And we'll see that it's AlphaTauri that are doing a really good job at the moment. 102 points sat at the moment. But Red Bull Racing, Aston Martin and Alfa Romeo all in quite a hefty battle. 3 points separate them. And that's for P2 in the standings. So that's a very, very big decider. Whoever comes out in front there will be gaining huge amounts of money at the end of the season. Not that it really matters. Williams kind of sat all by themselves. So's McLaren. A bit of a battle between Haas and their partner team, Ferrari. And for once, actually, it's Haas that lead them. So that's very interesting how that sort of come about. But I think my waffling can finish. Now, I don't think I need to be talking anymore. And I imagine all of you will be very happy about that fact. So, without further ado, let's go look at some racing, shall we? Here we go. Here's some racing that we can have a little chat about. Now, I know another great thing. I don't know whether we're going to get 1440p, but at least like a solid 1080, which we're currently at 720. So it's a big step up. I don't know whether we're going to quite get the full-on setup, but I think pretty solid in my opinion. And hopefully we should get less glitches as well, because I won't have to stream out of a stupid Elgato card that's so slow, and it's quite old, to be honest. It's like the HD 60. It's not even the S. Oh well. So, as I've been talking, quite a few people have set some times. Scorenzi, Bonium, Fabicassi, they're all guys out on the pack who haven't set a time yet. But the top 11 of 18 have indeed set times, so they will be aiming for, essentially, I mean, other than really Blackbone, who's currently driving for a team which have really come into the limelight today, haven't they? I know I'm supposed to be talking about this, but come on, Hamilton to Ferrari. I mean, it's been a joke for how many years now? Since about 2018, people started rumouring it. It's only taken, what, 8 years. It's only taken 8 years. No, 7. 7 years, the amount of world championships he has. Oh, it's all lining up. It's all lining up. It was like it was made for... No, I am totally joking. But it's a very interesting driver lineup. And I do look forward to seeing how everybody gets on. Because, I mean, if Ferrari can build a competent car and can be competent people, they're in for a good shout, aren't they? But that is besides the point, because right now we need to be paying attention to what's going on in front of our screens out here. Currently, qualifying. We've got 10 minutes of qualifying remaining, so we've had 8 so far. Not too bad whatsoever. As I'm pretty sure most people just going for outlaps, but I think Brockle is on a fast lap, so we will watch him. He's currently down on his time by, a significant amount, 0.3 of a second. That's going to push him into P1. Interesting enough, Drepo is in a really good position here, 124.8, which comfortably, nothing short of annihilates everybody else. 0.6 of a second that gap is right now. So it's going to be a huge advantage to try and pull down. Brockle's done a half-decent job at removing some of it, but he's not done anywhere near enough to go for it. I don't think J-Horse is going to be able to get pole either. No, he's going to sit in with Saratel and Kresnor, split those two up. Drepol is very, very quick. Half a second faster than everybody else at the moment. At the minimum. At the very, very minimum. Got one hell of a driver I had here, eh? Either way, I think most people are, well, pretty much everybody set a time so far. I think J-Horse putting a time down has significantly helped that fact. And with DRL Mike about to set a time, that will certainly help us out as well. As he comes across the final corner and across the line. It's a 125.6, and that will put him P7. A few more drivers still coming through sort of as we speak. A Hazard coming through the S's, Maggots and Beckett's, and then indeed Chapel as he leaves. See, this is one track that I can, talk about the track names and the track corners and everything, because I do, for the most part, know them. Don't sit there and say that, oh yeah, I know all of them by heart, because I don't. But I'm pretty decent. So, a few drivers coming into the pits. including J-Horse. His teammate, though, is going to run round. He is starting a lap. Buell with the 126.1 there. That's, you know what? If he was on an outlap, I think, as well. So that certainly shows good promise. As more and more drivers start to get themselves ready to go for their final lap. Obviously, because this is a significantly longer track than the vast majority of races we go to, it's very difficult to, you know, do like 3 or 4 runs. You know, if anybody's getting 4 runs in, they're doing it at Monaco or something. They're doing it at Austria. 2 runs is often all people can do around this track. Some people do scrape 3. But, you know, if you don't opt to go out straight away and you don't wait until the very last second to get across, it is difficult to, you know, get times on the board on this track. So I think all the drivers will be acutely aware of that fact as well, and would have taken it into consideration, or at least, well, I hope that that's what they've done. Otherwise, they are in trouble. Either way, we're currently watching Kresnos as he comes through the final sector here. And he dives into the pit lane after invalidating. So that will be rather frustrating for him. Saratel just starting a lap there, or just finishing it? Nope, just starting a lap. So we'll keep an eye on how he's getting along. Balin is currently not using his ERS, so I imagine he's possibly made a mistake somewhere, and then that's why he's, you know, taking it nice and easy and getting ready to go again, because he's got full ERS, so I'm guessing he's going for a second outlap. At least that's my only explanation of what he's actually doing. Most people on in-laps, by the looks of it. That was Bonium there that just came across the line. He goes 6/10 as well, and I mean, it is still very much, I mean, think about it, right? If we didn't have Dreppel right now, I mean, this is close quali. Brockle and Kresnos are split by just shy of 2 10. Oh, what's happened here? Saratel's had a bit of a nightmare, hasn't he? Currently the wrong way out of Chapel. Not sure how, but something certainly happened. I'll tell you that much for free. I ain't no genius, but that is not how you're supposed to be in that section of the track. Maybe he's just, as he's coming round the right hand of the rear's just gotten loose. I'm guessing that's probably my best explanation. Can't really give anything more than that, to be honest. As Alex there just coming into the pit lane. Right, well, most people are currently in the pits, so not exactly like I can say that we've got much action out on track. We'll watch Hazard. Hazard looks like he's getting a good run at the moment. Oh my god, our Henson's made a gift for me. Oh, that's so cute. Everybody's already been congratulating Drepo on his lap, and J-Horse has said, "Insane lap from you, man. Gonna ban you for the sake of our collective mental health." I mean, I think I can stand with everybody else and say that is one heck of a lap. A 124.8 is just nowhere near the level anybody else is set to. There we go. That was Hazard's lap there. It puts him P11. He's a 10th off of Blackbone. And he's the only man out on track at the moment. Or as literally the moment I say that, Brockle. It starts to come out along with two other people. It's himself, Williams, and I can't see the other one. Oh, there's another Williams coming out. There's some Martin coming out. Oh, it's Kresnos. Yeah, it's Kresnos. Righty, well, we'll watch Brockle because he's in a good-ish position at the moment. He's P2, but he's got a very, very long way to go until he sits at the top of the table. And let's be honest here, Jevo probably will come out again. The Alpine car does have plenty of opportunity to try and improve his lap even more. But whether he does or not, because I don't know, I wouldn't want to waste. He's not coming out. He's going to be the only man to stay in. Unsurprisingly, to be honest, I think he got half a second gap. You can pretty comfortably say, you know what, even if I only get P2, I reckon I can bring this race. I reckon I can win this race, you know. It's not exactly a confidence dipper, shall we say. So, yeah, everybody else out on track at the moment. I think Hazard's now just coming into the pits. So, obviously, he's done. And we'll just check her once we get to, pardon me, a minute to go. Interestingly enough, we got half the grids. We've got some Ferrari back there. I think that's Blackbone. So far back. Worry, are they even going to make it? I don't know. Either way, we'll watch Brockle because he looks in probably one of the best positions if he is going to try and challenge the front runner to be the man to do it. He's coming through turns 1 and 2 pretty nicely into the braking zone. Pretty good. I mean, it is very solid running at the moment. Can't see any major mistakes. No letting loose of the rears. Just pretty free flowing. So at the end of sector 1, what's his time looking like? It's improvements. It's not an awful lot of improvements though. 600ths of a second. So it's going to have to try and fork out 5/10, 400ths of a second out of sector 2 and 3. I'm not quite sure where he's going to get it from, but he can certainly try, as we're getting huge lag spikes. I do apologise for the matter. So through sector 2 we go, and into Maggots and Beckett's, and indeed we go through Chapel. It's a pretty decent run through there, nothing of too much. It is improvement, significant as well, 2/10 improved. Even if this doesn't get him pole position, it's going to give him a good enough sort of back beacon, that backbone, that, you know, he's not going to be under too much threat from anybody else, as obviously he's got that 10th advantage on everybody already as he comes across the line and does improve, puts himself within a 10th and a half of Kresnos improves his time, goes P3. Not by an awful lot, though, to be totally honest with you. A couple more drivers just coming across the line. That CPD Danny goes P5. And Alpha Tauri there, Fabi Cassi goes P12. J-Horse across the line now. He shoots up to P3. It's a good improvement. It's not a brilliant improvement, though. Saratel just comes across the line. He improves on his time, but unfortunately, due to invalidations, will not keep hold of it. Bonium, next man across, looks to be in a pretty good position out of Sector 2. Can he get the much needed improvements in Sector 3? It might just be tipping J-Horse to P3. No, he's going to have to try and tip DRL Mike. And it's not going to be. He's going to be slightly slower than J-Horse. So, oh, there we go. That's qualifying done. That was very quick. Oh, wow. Right, there we go. Ladies and gentlemen, qualifying is complete. Alrighty, so Drepo starts on the front row along with Brockle in the McLaren. DRL Mike and J-Horse start on the second row. Bonium and Kresnos, they start on the third. Scorenzi and Saratel, they start on the fourth. CPD Danny starts with Blackbone on the fifth. Bull and Ballin on the sixth. Alex and Fabi on the seventh. Hazard and Henson on the eighth. Name I'm going to try. And Jackalacco on the ninth. And that rounds out our grid. Only 18 drivers, so no 10th row. But there we go. Join us back in just a moment as we get ready for the race. Welcome back as we go to 5 red lights here in Great Britain, and they're not going now, they are going. Jeffo gets off to a really good start and gets away, accelerates very nicely. Darren Monk gets the jump on Brockle into turn 1, big spin, round goes McLaren, wipes out J-Horse as well. That sends them two flying to the back of the grid along with Scarenzi and Saratel. Immediately it's a huge pile up right at the back as everybody scrambles to try and get underway. Immediately it's an absolutely massacre, a total massacre right at the back. Everybody just scraping and trying to hold on to everything they can get their hands on. But Brockle, J-Horse, Scarenzi, Saratel and Backbone having absolute nightmares. And oh, it's been an absolute another huge pile up all in the middle sector as we go through Luffield. A lot of people losing many parts of their wings. Everybody really struggling at the moment with collisions. So two major wipeouts already on the very start of this race. So expect a lot of people to dive in immediately for a new wing in particular. There's going to be absolutely carnage in the pit lane after just lap 1. Lots of people really struggling with it. I'm not sure sort of why, but we just had two major pile-ups. It'll be interesting to... I'm very glad I'm not a steward, because that just looks like an absolute hellish nightmare to try and resolve, as everything has just gone terribly wrong. Luckily, though, everybody is still racing. Nobody got DNF'd out of it. LX into the pits, Ballin into the pits. So is Blackbone. J-Horse can stay out. Fabi Cassie's in as well. So is Scarenzi. So it is indeed busy in the pit lane. A couple of people just surviving. J-Horse, Saratel, Kresnos out of that first calamity. But yeah, you can see already the grid split in half, really, as the driver's just trying to start to catch up to the back of the grid, but it's not exactly going as the plan at the moment. And just further back, we've got an Alpine going up the inside. Can he get this done? It might have to go all the way around the outside. No, he does manage to get the move done. Alpine moves up to 7th place. Henson, though, currently under quite a significant threat from his teammate Jacka Lacko, running just behind. Those two doing quite well as a driver pairing. They're doing just a pretty solid job in the Williams, and maybe going side by side into Magnus and Beckett's. Nope, smartly enough, Jacka Lacko registered that was probably a terrible idea and elected against it. Thank God. That I thought that was going to be another wipeout. But I think he's going for it now, isn't he? Yep, it's actually really difficult to talk about two cars of the same nature fighting, because you can't tell which one's which. But Jackalacco gets himself in front fairly comfortably as well. The Alpine, though, just looking on to Hazard to try and, go for a little move, cheeky little move. And he's definitely closing in almost immediately, doing a very good job just to stick to the back of the Alfa Romeo like glue. Cool. We had a little look into the first braking zone, but unsurprisingly, thought better of it, which I'm so glad he did. That was a terrible idea to try and go for a move there. So luckily, nothing too major so far for him. But I think he is indeed going to go for it through this left-hander. Yes, he is. Great little move as he moves up into P6. Really pushing through and doing so very, very well. Drepo, 2.4 seconds. Lap 3. I'll leave it there. They swap places again. Oh, a little bit of contact through a Cops, but luckily no major incident. But Hazard just about getting himself through there at Cops and into the braking zone of Cops. And it looks like a little bit of struggling from the Alpine as all of a sudden backed onto the back of Jackalacco, who could have a good opportunity to get past him. And yeah, that's exactly what he's going to do. He's just gone from being really, really good running for the Alpine to being absolutely terrible. He's all the way back at square one again. Since we first started watching him, he's all the way down in P8 and possibly with a warning out of that mistake. Hopefully not for his sake, but that could be rather bad indeed. And, well, these two are still just going at it side by side, totally unrelentless with each other. But I don't think anything is to come of this battle this time round, but certainly don't put it out to be an absolutely nothing job, as it's certainly something that could ramp back up, I reckon, with the next DRS straight. All the Williams just getting a little wide there outside of Cops. Possibly picked up a warning for that as well if he kept his foot in, which I imagine so because he hasn't lost the place to the Alpine. So Jackalacco just running into the risk of penalties if he keeps that kind of behaviour up. Hopefully, for his sake and for the racing's sake, that he doesn't. And that we get a bit more clean racing. Well, it wasn't actually any contact, but you know what I mean. As the Williams just keeping trail very, very nicely. And just behind, our Henson's managed to launch it probably on the switchback, I imagine. He's managed to get himself past the Alpine. So the Williams are the two that are beginning to progress right now. And Jackalacco just having a little look there. Alex against it in the end, but is certainly putting the pressure on to try and get a move done on this Alfa Romeo. He doesn't want to be stuck behind any longer. He wants to be able to get past, get free, get in the air and try and overtake this straight. Yes, he does. Wellington straight completed. Though it's very deep into the brakes. I think he might just be able to hold on to it. Yes, he does. The Alfa Romeo doesn't have the response that it needed to try and keep hold of the position. Oh, he's just soared through there, but I think the Williams is going to soar straight back. Yes, he is. They're swapping places like crazy. But the Williams is going to be the man to come out in front in the end there. I say that. It's certainly subject to change at any point. I think the Alpine's gotten himself through back again. Yeah, really good running between all four of these. Certainly loving the idea of switching around in their positions literally every 5 seconds. So I'm not exactly complaining whatsoever. But yeah, all three drivers doing a very good job at keeping themselves close together. Just in front, though, we've got another three drivers, four drivers back there, that are looking very close to one another as well. This is currently the fight for P2. So 2 podium positions, and I think the Aston Martin is going to go for it. He's going to have to probably stick around the outside. Gets the move done as well there. So 2 people there just getting that move done very early on within the corner as DRL might pick up a 3 second time penalty. And just behind as well are Henson and Hazard going side by side. Our Henson's having to try and go the long way round. Can he keep it in there? Not quite, but will continue to put the pressure on into Cop's corner. Is he going to be bold enough to go for it? No, he's not. He's going to hold back just for a moment. Probably a wise idea, you know, just wait your turn. Don't go for anything too rash too quickly and just pick the precise moment that seems most logical, as the Aston Martin does indeed dive it up the inside at Stowe and gets it done very neatly. Just behind looks to be no changes as of currently, which is surprisingly rare, as Brockle is just launching himself all the way around Stowe. Once again, another move getting done at Stowe, and J-Horse is the recipient. Word, oh, I don't even know. Try and say words I can't pronounce. So yeah, not doing brilliantly for J-Horse. He started really, really well, and then obviously it went horribly, horribly wrong right at the very beginning. Brockle doing even worse. He's down 9 places. Scorenzi even worse than that, down 10. The Alpine and Jackalacco having an absolutely marvellous time. Jackalacco is up 12 places, would you know it. Truly a phenomenal run so far from him. Only a couple of people that have actually kind of stuck roughly where they were. Bonium only up 1 place. Mike and JetPro up none. They are exactly where they were. And then looking in the negatives, LX has only gone down 1 and Fabi's only gone down 2. Other than that, it's huge changes in the grid order and how everybody's sort of lined up on this race, which is really interesting to see. I mean, don't get me wrong, we do see races where, you know, somebody, excuse me, get somebody, you know, that's moving up and down the grid really wildly, but to have the entire grid be doing it, rare, very, very rare. As I think that is just Hazard slipping through on our Henson. In the end there, has gotten that move done by the looks of it. Yeah, the Williams doesn't have a response as of yet, but I wouldn't put it beside him to be able to formulate a response at very short notice. The Williams of our Henson doing a very good job at the moment. Currently running a P9. Oh dear, nearly dropping everything. My apologies there. I was just taking a nice break, and I think the Hazard is going to try and come back. I was going to say, oh, Henson managed to get himself past Hazard, but Hazard does indeed come back and gets the place remade. But I think our Henson might be able to try the switchback here. He's going to get a pretty good run. He's going to have to try and go for possibly like a multitude of switchbacks all at the very same time. Try and line his car up in position, but Kresnos is beginning to get significantly more interested in this challenge as every waking moment goes. In fact, Kresnos and our Henson, they're going to go side by side down this straight. In fact, Kresnos is going to have such an amazing run down the straight. He might even try and go for Hazard down it, but he doesn't quite manage it. But yeah, I mean, when you got to move like that, I mean, you got to say that, hey, I'm not afraid. But oh, he's very, very nearly spun. Very nearly spun. Kresnos playing it risky. Definitely saw the rear end get lost there, but he's managed to keep it held, and held pretty nicely as well. So nothing of too much concern for him as of right this very second. Just in front though, the Alpine is struggling with putting up with Jackalacco. He had a little look but elected against it, as there we go. Kresnos has managed to get past Hazard into the corner. Is he going to be able to keep it? He's got the inside line and the slightly better acceleration. I say it's enough. I don't think it is. I think the Alfa Romeo, is going to go for it at Cops. He elects against it right at the very last second. but certainly looks interesting. I mean, I would have been loved to see how that fight would have panned out if he had gone for that move. Could have been brilliant. Could have been a total, utter catastrophe. I guess we'll never know. All I know is everybody is still racing, and we are on lap 10 of 26. So we're nearing that halfway mark, getting closer and closer as we speak. As dear old Mike and there, Bonium switching places. Interestingly enough, just down that main straight of that start-finish straight of all places, the Hamilton straight. The man that now drives for Bonium's team, or will be, sorry, by the end of the season. Well, it has certainly quieted down, hasn't it? Certainly quieted down in here as well. Saratel, 3-second time penalty, multiple warnings. I mean, he's P13 at the moment, and he's not worrying too much. LX is currently 23 seconds behind. So nothing of too much concern for his Saratel at the moment. Even with that penalty, he is in total no man's land as he crashes out on track, bringing out the full course safety car. Huh. Now, I don't know, his wheel might have scuffed up. I'm not too sure. Interestingly enough, though, Drapo has managed to get very lucky. So those soft tyres, which are pretty much going off at this point, he can get off of them and he can get onto a nice pair of mediums or hard set of tyres. As pretty much everybody, by the looks of it, is indeed coming into the pit lane. To be honest, it's a really good opportunity to go into the pit lane. So I'm not surprised one bit that everybody's going for it. Luckily, though, this will help close that 32-second gap in between LX and J-Horse and hopefully bring us into a bit more of competitive racing. You know, fighting for places. Indeed, everybody electing to come into the pits. Nobody, I think, stayed out. Other than Balin. Balin hasn't come in yet, so that kind of explains that one. And yep, he dives in as well. So everybody opting to change their set of tyres. And it's a massive spread between mediums and hard tyres. So who's in good positions at the moment? Essentially, everybody running mediums right now. I mean, if they can finish the race, which is going to be a challenge, I'm going to be totally honest, that is challenging to finish the rest of the race. I mean, it's going to be, what, 10... It's going to be about 15-ish laps. 14, 15 laps. So just over half. Usually you say just under half for mediums, just over half for hards. So they're going to have to conserve their tyres a little bit. So I reckon they're all going to be pretty similarly paced. Just how this safety car has come out. But I guess as well, 3 laps under the safety car at Silverstone is like a lot of laps lost. It's like a lot of tyre wear lost as well. Ooh. Nice bit of relaxing to take place. Not a whole lot to observe at the moment. It's everything pretty nice. Everything's nice and quiet. Righty. Might get going at the end of this lap. It'd be nice. I mean, it'd be quite a task to try and get everybody ready. Woohoo! Yes, with Bandit just catching. Did I miss the safety car in this lap sign? I must have. Yeah, because there we go. We're getting ready to get going again. It's lap 12 of 26. Everybody is ready to start racing. And indeed, Drepo has decided to go very, very early. Everybody's going now at full pelt before we even hit. Well, it's the start of the safety car. Not a lot's happening at the moment. I'm going to be totally honest. And all we got to move here from the Haas as Krestos goes down the inside. But there's going to be an easy defense from the Alpine who gets the inside for the next two corners. It's going to be a pretty big challenge for the Haas to try and follow him through. But he is going to be able to follow through pretty decently. Possibly go for a move into the corner. But it's no, not going to be. I feel like I'm being far too quiet. But there's not an... Oh, move! DRL might getting past Bonium there. But already a big gap beginning to form between Mike and Danny. Interesting enough, though, that Danny is keeping up a lot better this time round with Drepo. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's 8/10. And he has just gone and set the fastest lap. But he's keeping up with him to a much better extent than we've seen before this, to be honest. I mean, DRL might have got 1.7 seconds. That's quite a huge gap, to be honest, if you think about it. These guys is pretty much all of the gang back together again, really, isn't it? It's the two Alpines. So the Alpine, Jackalacco, our Henson's just down the road as well. He could definitely get joined in on this action. But the midfield is still looking very, very busy. Buell is having to defend from quite a mass of people and doing a very good job of it at the moment. He'll probably want to try and catch back up to Bonium, but it's not exactly going brilliantly, losing a consistent amount of time to the Ferrari driver just in front. Jackalacco as well, looking very aggressive on the back of the Red Bull, just has to back off a little bit because he nearly put himself in danger of going straight through the back of the Red Bull. And that is actually going to put him at a huge disadvantage ready for this straight because he's got to try and catch all of that space back up to the Red Bull. He's not going to be able to go for a move down the hanger straight just because of that. He just got onto the back of the Red Bull that little bit too early and it's just affected him so badly, unfortunately, for him. And the Alpine as well doing a pretty good job at keeping on the back, but will have to be compensating with the dealings of them trying to move in front, but I don't think that's going to be all too much of an issue for the Alpine, because all of a sudden he's absolutely got the Williams exactly where he wants to be, ever so slightly in front, just in time for the Alpine to launch one down the inside, sorry. Can he get the move done? The Williams going to defend pretty nicely here, and I think he does just about manage to keep the space for now. But the Alpine certainly not looking like he wants to give up anytime soon. In fact, the Haas also interested in getting involved by the looks of it, but I think the Alpine is indeed going to go for the move, and yes, he does get it done. A little bit of contact made, and I think the Haas is going to try and follow round, maybe even go for the switchback move here. Kresnos just trying to evaluate this decision in front of him and sort of see what each car's going to do and see how he can capitalise off of both cars. And I think he's going to go for a move at Copse Corner. Oh my God. The Alfa Romeo, instead is going to launch one down the outside. And he gets the move done. Hazard with a very, very brave position there. I thought Kresnos was going stupid trying to go for a dive bomb. He wasn't. He was just trying to defend from Hazard. And it certainly hasn't worked. Just in front, Bodiam gotten that move back on DRL Mike. So those guys splitting up even further from Danny, who is still, as I say, staying relatively close, but losing a pretty consistent amount of time to the back of the Alpine every single lap. It's like the gold dust is all soaring away. And oh, who's that off track? It's Blackbone having to just try and reorganize himself. Unfortunately for him, he's going to have to go through all the shenanigans again and trying to catch everybody up, and being 7 odd seconds back, it's certainly going to be a bit of a challenge. I worry that he's only going to just sit back there for the entirety of the race. We've got 10 laps remaining now. Well, 11, 10 and a half, and just in front, through goes the Alpine on Buell. So finally a move gets done in this midfield fight. It only took, what, 5-ish laps? So pretty nice that we've finally done. And with the track quietening down, we can just mellow out a little bit. As I say that, we've got fighting all over the gaff all of a sudden. It's just there. Brockle and Hazard getting themselves swapped around as DRL Mike and Bodiam swapped round once again. That seems to be a bit of a recurring habit. Just going to have to keep watching out for those two. J-Horse and Hazard swapping round as well. J-Horse getting through nicely. In fact, Hazard seems to be having a little bit of a nightmare, because all of a sudden, Henson's going to be able to go up the inside, and I think he might nearly get this move done. He's going to have to go to the inside here if he wants to try and get it. No, instead he's going to have to defend from the Mercedes, just slightly behind Squenzi. Unable to make anything of it, unfortunately for him. He'll be having to wait a little bit longer if he wants to try and make that move. Oh, what's happening just in front here? Kresnos looks to be going for a move on the Williams. Doesn't in the end manage to get it done, but it's so close in the midfield here. I think we're going to have to watch it. 4 cars basically looking to go side by side now. Everybody trying to swap places, and I think the Haas is going to go for it. He does manage to get himself past and gets himself just slotted in there, and he hasn't lost really any time to the back of the Red Bull either during that. So there we go. Kresnos up to P7. Jackalacco demoted down to P8. ZLX and Fabi Cassie just currently swapping positions just behind, as well as our Henson and Hazard. And there we go. Just trying to defend a little bit. The Red Bull having to do everything he can to keep him behind, and I think he's just kept him behind for one more lap, but Kresnos looking desperate to try and get himself past. In fact, he might be able to get him in the second half of this lap. Possibly the Haas looking very, very competitive. As it all quietens down through Maggots and Beckett's just to ramp up again. These cars basically following each other in a perfect line, but it just is a little bit of a DRS line, I can't lie. Bit of a train, but it's not too bad. The McLaren's going to go for a move. Brockle, can he get it to stick down the inside at Stone? No, he can't. It's good defending from the Williams, who'll have the inside line now into Club. Can he get it done? Yes, the McLaren makes a crucial error, and that's going to allow J-Horse through as well. So J-Horse gaining a position. Brockle just getting up onto the curb, and it's just caused absolute nightmares for the McLaren driver. He now falls down to P10, but with a 3-second deficit just behind him, he's got enough opportunities to try and regather himself and bring himself back. And we go once again through Maggots and Beckett's. The Haas getting very off track there. Just a little bit worrying. Oh, we got a caution in sector 1 and 3. That's McLaren. Can he get it done? Can he get it done? Can he get it done? Not quite. The Aston Martin looking very... Oh, back up once again. These two swapping round. They just keep doing that, don't they? Constantly swapping each other around. Not really giving all too much. And look what's happening just here. The Haas, can he get the move? He's going to have to go all the way around the outside of the McLaren at Club Corner. Gets the move done. That's a really, really nice move from the Haas. Just slipping it in. Very, very impressive indeed. So still pretty close across the board. Interestingly, sort of got two packs, or two trains really. One starting with Ballant and one ending with Jackalacco. So just sort of jumping between the twos. Really sort of interesting to watch and see how both are sort of getting on. So look here, the Red Bulls just swapping places. J-Horse getting himself up to P6. And oh, the Williams and Red Bull collide. And that sends the Red Bull of Buell flying around into a spinning circle. I think he's just going to start and join into this pack of fighting cars, and that's going to be hugely detrimental to him as Bonian picks up a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. So not good at all for him. Alrighty, so that's certainly quietened down this fight. There's only 2 drivers in it now, and I think it's going to only become one. Kresnos launches it down the inside of Jackalacko up at Stowe and gets the move done. And Jackalacko does have a little look to go back in the final turns, but it isn't quite going to be pulled off for him. So Kresnos up to P7 now. I'll just look ever so slightly in front as well, because CPT Danny is starting to get involved into this fight a little bit as well. Just trying to see sort of who's going to fight out of these two first. So close, just going down the straight now. I think Bodium, he's going to be able to catch up to Danny, and that's now going to become a significant fight, but it's not quite starting just yet. It's going to be this backpack, isn't it? It's going to be the absolute chaos that's taking place back here as this train begins to form just to immaculate lenses. Fabicassi, I think, is going to go for the move down the inside. Can he get it done? Not quite through the corner. He's now going to have to go to the outside of the next butts with the option to switch to the in on the final corner, or the second to last corner actually. The AlphaTauri gets himself through and done pretty nicely. Nothing of too much concern for him. Balance still looking pretty comfortable out there at the front of this fight. Like, he hasn't had to put up with really any fighting at all. I mean, everybody else has been giving each other massive scraps behind, and he's sort of just quite comfortably sat at the front without too much of an issue at all. As all the cars just coming through, just not really much of an opportunity to get a move through this section of track, but it does open itself up to, you know, keep people close, and then we can get a move done into the Stowe that we've seen so many times today. That's just been the most common move to make into Stowe. Be interesting to see how we go this time round. Kresnos looking very close to the back of this Williams Jackalacko as well. They two have swapped around once again. That seems to be never ending as well. See how that unfolds. And at the moment, it's pretty quiet out on track, but that doesn't mean that we can't still have some good racing take place, as that was a pretty close move, or nearly getting a bit of a, what's it, collision going on there. Luckily, nothing comes of it. Possibly a move here from the AlphaTauri. He is going to go for it. Fabicassi, oh, just elects out of it at the very last second. Just putting the warning in for the Williams that he's interested in trying to get past. But it's not quite managed to do so as of yet. Don't know. The AlphaTauri looking very, very close to the back. Can he get this move done? J-Horse has just swapped past there as Jackalacko loses a place. And just in front, can the Alpine try and get that position back? As we move on to the second to last lap with these two guys, and just behind Nothing changing too much at the moment. Henson just trying to get himself past Fabicassi and looking very dangerous on the back of the AlphaTauri, but he is going to have to do quite a lot to try and get himself into the position. Just at the back, by the looks of it, couple of people, interestingly enough, coming in for soft tyres. So those are guys right at the very back, just sort of running at the back. So they've said, we ain't getting any points. Let's go for fastest lap and get a point. Unfortunately, only one of them it's going to pull off for. But I think just both of them will be, yeah, let's wing it. At the moment, Blackbone looks to be in the much better position. He's got 75% ERS, so it's almost like he's been preparing for this moment for a fair bit longer than the Red Bull, which kind of makes sense considering the Red Bull was up in a very good fight not too long ago. As we move on to the final lap of the race, this has actually gone by pretty quickly. Danny looking in a really good position, obviously with penalties taken into account as well. Is going to definitely swap a lot of people round. In particular, J-Horse will be trying to want to catch up just at least 3 seconds to a DRL Mike, but he's going to have to do a second this lap. As the Alpine, interestingly enough, in P6 has left the session. So that's going to lose him a lot of places. Kresnos and Jackalako will be able to get past him, but to be honest, he does have 6 seconds of time penalties, so it's not too much of an issue because they were going to get it anyway. It's now just down to Ballin if he can close in the 3 seconds that he needs to start then getting on the back of the Alpine. See if these guys can swap around just one more time. This is the ultimate fight for the podium position. Can Bonium keep hold of it? Can DRL Mike get it? He's going to catch. I think he's going to go for the Aston Martin. Try and get the defensive position. If he can get in front of the Aston Martin, that pretty much puts the Alfa Romeo out of contention. But it has pushed the Ferrari off the track a little bit. He is going to go for the move. And the Aston Martin indeed is going to be able to go for the attacking move. Can he get it done? No, the Ferrari, they're going to go right to the very line. The Alfa Romeo tries to go up the inside. Oh, they do make a little bit of contact, but they do finally come across the line. And Bonium does secure P3 in the end with DRL Mike in P4. But it's Drepal that comes in to win for the Alpine team by a consistent amount. I mean, 7.5 seconds after the safety car. And with a comfortable pole position, it's a very, very good lap. Now, for these two, this is an ultimate little fight between these two guys. Can either of them pick up fastest lap? That is the question. Current fastest lap goes to Jeffro. He might just be able to keep hold of it. I don't know yet. Is Blackbone, is Buell going to be any quicker? They come across the line now. Blackbone does go faster. Buell does not. So Blackbone picks up that fastest lap in the end there. So, massive congratulations to the Alpine, the Aston Martin and the Ferrari team for their podium positions. They were all very well deserved. So with that, Drepal wins for the Alpine team and Danny comes in P2 for the Aston Martin. Bonium in P3 for Ferrari and DRL Mike in P4 for Alfa Romeo. J-Horse P5 for Red Bull and Kresnos P6 for Haas. Jackalako in P7 for Williams and Balance in P8 for Aston Martin. Fabicassi P9 AlphaTauri and our Henson P10 for Williams. The name I shan't pronounce, P11 in Alpine. and Scorenzi in P12 for the Mercedes. Hazard P13 for Alfa Romeo, and LX in P14 for Mercedes. For Blackbone in P15 for Ferrari, and Buell P16 for Red Bull. Brocco P17 for McLaren, and Saratel in P18 for Haas, with the McLaren and Haas DNFing from the session. Now, I do have to say, unfortunately, I can't take part in interviews tonight. I'm very rushed and I've got a load of things to do. So, my apologies, but this will be the end of the stream today. I hope that you all have enjoyed watching, because I most thoroughly have. I've been the Characteristics. Thank you and good night.